actions. Yeah. Jobs that didn't come through something.
All right, so we're gonna delete. We're gonna get started in a minute. You got it? OHNA?
No, I'm in transactions right now, but how do I couldn't find
So you're gonna create a new transaction.
I'm in car. So go here to new.
Yeah, go to new
Transaction.
and then new purchase.
Purchase, got it.
And then you'll just name it with your buyer's name or a property address.
I don't have either of those yet, but I think
Okay,
if
so
I'm here, I
just name it. Just name it.
You can test
this buyer rep or whatever.
Okay.
And then hit residential. And I go down and select save. Okay, so now we're in our buyer rep transaction.
Got it.
Hit all forms. You're gonna search for OH buyer rep. That's the Papa Bear.
Okay.
And then also go in here and search for OHNA.
OHNA is the baby bear.
That's the baby bear.
That's the sign in.
Yeah.
OHN.
Yeah. So now you can push that one. And now go back up there and search for
Before you go away,
PSRA.
open house. PSRA is the, okay, so I have right here, Mama Bear is the
Yeah.
PSRA.
Yeah.
OH, I have V, we don't need all that. It's OH, OHV and DF. OHN, that's all we need.
OHNA.
OH, okay, got
And
it.
then PSRA.
Okay.
Yeah. New purchase or offer.
Oh.
And then you're gonna put in your buyer rep or whatever.
Okay, so I think I have all three.
Those are everything. The only thing you don't have there is the Keller Williams.
There's residential.
Is this recently revised, JJ?
I'm sorry?
Is this recently revised by representation?
Yes, they're all recent. Actually, yes, it is, but we've always been using that one. That's been the only one.
Hmm.
There's also a new one. There's one called tenant representation.
A different place there. I was.
Okay.
Give me one sec, let me just
I
finish
do
this.
that. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Buyers, rooms.
So I have the-
You got 30 on there.
Scott. There it is.
Yeah, so pop them there. You said you're off there now. Oh, but that's not where it goes. Oh, this is your buyer rep. Oh, you left it blank.
Yeah, it was at zero.
I think good.
It was
It's
blank.
a loophole, okay.
Yeah, I said, yeah, that's the,
Sorry, I said that.
Okay.
yeah.
So when I did this and I did.
First question when I saw your post.
Yeah.
I do know, yes, we also said.
What is it?
We're gonna have for the Sunday, but hopefully.
Oh, got it. Got it.
It's hers.
Okay, so I just want to show everyone in our, so this is our KW, this is where you guys go for our calendar, right? KWBH virtual. So if you go here to helpful links and then go to approved logos, check disclosures. If we go to,
That's a quick way to get in there.
we go to. Oh, no, here. KWVH new forms and agreements, August 2024. See that?
Can you back up 2 steps?
Yeah.
Go back to the calendar and show us where
Yeah.
that is.
So just here's KWVH virtual
Got it.
and go to helpful links.
So this, you don't even need this.
And then approved logos, checklists and disclosures. Here's KW Beverly Hills new forms and agreements.
And these are blank, correct?
These are 4 forms that our company has just released. Now, one of them is a
Okay, your real estate license.
buyer rep agreement.
Yeah.
So we have our own 2-page buyer rep agreement.
Is it preferred that we bring these to?
So I asked Michael, what is your order of preference? He said number 1 order of preference should be the regular BRBC exclusive. That's number 1. Now, this KW buyer rep agreement by default is exclusive. You have to check the box to make it non-exclusive. So this one might be good,
This is,
maybe easier to get signed.
This is the one from.
so this is the BRBC.
So I'll be right back. Give me 1 second, but I just want to let you know that these are new forms from our office. I like to use CAR forms. You know, but but I don't know. Are you getting pushback on buyer signing forms? I don't know. So, yeah, pick something.
It's pushing back on anything. Yeah. Neat.
All right, back to this thing. Let's see. I want to start all over because I,
No, you're right.
oh,
We
wait,
had a test. Go to new,
no.
go to purchase. Whoops, you went too fast. Go to-
Lion.
Oh, you
Yeah, I
got,
got it. This-
go to new,
Purchase.
new purchase or offer.
That's what I did wrong.
And then in here, do a test or an address.
That's 3. Okay.
And then you want to go to resi, residential, and then scroll down, go to save. And now it's going to save it here as your test.
Okay.
Um,
Now, you go more.
did we get to the-
Oh, you went,
I
here.
think you hit that.
No, you go,
Once I created,
that you created, and then you go to all forms.
Oh, there you
Ah,
go.
awesome,
Now you can
thanks.
search it up here, fire,
BRBC.
BRBC. So the 3 that you're gonna wanna have. BRBC. It's the Papa Bear. PSRA. I clicked, it should load it in.
There it is.
Okay, now do the PSRA. That's the one you're probably gonna use the least, everybody saying, we should use this.
Okay.
And the last one, which is the sign-in sheet, is the OHNA.
OHNA.
Correct. You have all 3 of those. Now I think if you just open them up, you can send it to print or do a PDF or.
Okay, perfect.
Also, I'm gonna sit with him so I know which boxes to check.
We have, he said on here as well. Was it the sync folder? And here he's gonna have pre-filled. So you'll have your template and then you can confirm with him as well. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start to practice just pulling one up. So if I get this thing, it's like, yeah, be able to just knock one out all for it. to
JJ?
go.
I know you're busy. I'm gonna be working for Masha on Sunday at our open house. So I know that I have to print these forms. That's why I was asking. Before the end of the week, can I sit with you for 5 minutes to make sure I'm checking over my boxes,
I mean,
do my prints?
easy,
Easy pie.
I mean, basically, here, I'll just real quick. So, this is, this is for anyone who's doing an open house. Showing property. Have you had an open house? Did you have an open house Sunday?
No, I didn't, no. But I already did the printout from the car,
Okay,
non-agency disclosure.
Yeah.
something like that.
so buyer forms,
Fire rep, like,
yeah, so documents. So I have here in the buyer forms, like, okay, so open house visitor non-agency. Okay, so this one, basically, you need to have this 100%, this is your sign-in sheet at your open house. So just basically, you'll put the property address in there. You'll put Keller Williams, Beverly Hills here, right? Keller Williams, Beverly Hills, you'll put your name up there. And this is basically just saying the agent does not represent the visitor. Communication with the agent is for the benefit of the seller. It's just putting the buyer on notice that anything they say to you, right, could be used against them. If the visitor wants to be represented by the agent holding the open house, they're gonna sign form PSRA or BRBC. Right, that's it, they're gonna sign. If they have an agent, they'll put their agent's name. And their email and phone. Alright, okay, so that's, if they want you to represent them, they're gonna have to sign one of these two forms, PSRA or BRBC. Okay, here's the PSRA. You will print a couple of these and bring them. So you're gonna leave this blank, the buyer name part. You will put your property address here, whatever that is. This is only good for 30 days. So beginning today, not to exceed 30 days. You'll put a commission amount in there.
you call this mama bear, right?
This is the mama bear, it's non-exclusive. So it's only good for 30 days and it's non-exclusive. So why would I have anyone sign a non-exclusive? Because it does protect me if there's broker involvement. Broker involvement means that someone that I showed the property, or I showed it to them virtually. that's very interesting that if I'm gonna go to a property and FaceTime with someone and show them a property over FaceTime, technically they need to sign this first.
Hmm.
Okay? Or I'm gonna write their offer, or I'm gonna do a CMA for them. So, and then this is just saying that just sending your client a list of properties is not enough to be broker involved. It's not just sending a list of properties from anyone.
Because this is not exclusive, they can actually go with their own agent, let's say.
As long as you didn't have any broker involvement, yes. Once you do the broker involvement part, they owe you a commission. Technically. Now, but if they wait 30, if this expires and then they write their offer with someone else, this broker involvement part doesn't matter. Because this is the mama bear.
I didn't understand.
So this particular form doesn't have a continuation period.
Okay.
So that means it's really only good for 30 days.
But during that 30 days, if they were to go with that,
They have to write an offer
But do-
with you within 30 days. Or write an offer with someone else within 30 days.
so they can write it with someone else.
They can, but they're gonna owe you. They're gonna owe you. If you had broker involvement, they're gonna owe you too. Yes.
What makes it not exclusive then?
What makes it non-exclusive?
After the 30? Why?
That's a good question. If you didn't have broker involvement, because you could have sent this to them and then ended up not showing on the broker, I guess. Then there would be no broker involvement because you didn't end up showing, right? So, and then we have the buffer, buyer rep. Now, the buyer rep agreement, buyer rep agreement is this, I think it's 13 pages. When you have your agency agreement. Okay. So this one, you want to make sure that you check this exclusive box.
Search.
And then if you check that, you also have to have them sign paragraph 15. So this is paragraph 15, exclusive.
Shit show.
If exclusive is checked in 2A, which on page 1, and initial side buyer here. So you have to make sure that when you send this, they initial it. And also look here, it's confirming the commission. All the offers I've written the past couple of weeks, the listing agents have been saying to me, can you send me page 5? This is the confirmation that the buyer, how much the buyer is responsible for right there, and that they've signed it.
This is
Okay.
this is all the.
This is the full one, it's the RVC. I went to escrow this morning and I asked them, has anyone just given you this, the TF, the property showing? Because this one has a commission. Has anyone proved it? Has any buyer proved their commission using this form? They said no. KLA has only received BRBCs. So I'm just sharing with you, like so far, that's all she's gotten. No one's using this form. They are using the BRBC. When you work with a buyer, use the BRBC, I guess. Okay. Every time I write an offer now or help someone write an offer, I am writing a purchase agreement, California residential purchase agreement, and I'm adding a buyer representation of BRBC. I'm sending both to my buyer to sign at the same time.
Do you also send this to escrow agent?
I don't send it to the listing agent. I only send the listing agent the purchase agreement. I'll keep the buyer's agreement. Once we have an accepted offer, or actually, after I write my offer, I am getting requests to see proof of page 5 of the BRBC.
The listing agent will ask for that.
They've been asking.
So basically you don't have buy, well, I know you have.
Why they're asking for proof?
Because they want to make sure that the seller has to pay.
This is why they're asking for proof. Because they're only receiving what's it? Not wrong.
They want
When I write my offer, I'm checking the box. It's purchase agreement. Here's the purchase agreement. When I'm writing my offer, I know we're talking about listings today. When I'm writing my offer, I'm checking this box. Seller agrees to pay the obligation of buyer.
Want to see the obligation.
They want to see it because here I'll
His obligation.
show you why they want to see it.
There's no obligation, they don't need to pay.
They want to see it because it's here. Seller payment, here we go. This is why they want to see it.
Seller payment.
So basically, when I write my offer, I'm putting in here 2.5%.
With your offers.
With the offer, they're getting this. When I check that box, this is getting included. So this is all the seller and listing agent are seeing right now. seller agrees to pay brokers 2.5%. Why is the listing agent asking me for proof? Because of this next line. Seller shall only be obligated to pay buyer's broker the lesser of. The lesser of what's here or in my buyer rep agreement. If I have a signed buyer rep agreement for 2 and I ask the seller to pay 2.5, they're only obligated to pay 2.
That's
If
what
there
it says.
is no buyer representation agreement, seller has no obligation to pay buyer's broker.
Oh.
Okay, see that? There's two issues here. If I don't have a buyer rep agreement, they're off the hook completely. But if my buyer rep agreement is for less than what I'm asking, they're only obligated to pay the lower amount. So that's one. So as a matter of practice, I would say when you write your offer, say new VRBC with your offer. I would do that. I would, that would be number one.
You said, skip a step.
You know the DRA number for Keller by heart?
014228775.
Did you, but you said that you,
01422 0142 8775.
Thank you.
what's that you don't send, sorry, you don't send the buyer representation agreement to the listing agent.
I don't until they ask for it.
So that,
Escrow will need it. Because escrow is going to do the calculations. So escrow needs to see it because the buyer is responsible for paying for it. Buyer is responsible for paying for it. And in the offer, the buyer is asking for the seller to pay their obligation.
what buyer is responsible for paying for?
The buyer is responsible for paying the buyer's agent. In the offer, you're asking the seller to cover the buyer's obligation.
The documents you're writing.
When you sign a buyer rep agreement, the buyer is the one agreeing to pay your commission. So that could lead to pushback by your buyer, right? They're saying to you, whoa, I don't want to sign this. I'm gonna immediately show them the next paragraph that says, if the broker receives compensation from the seller or others, that amount shall be credited against their obligation to pay.
Like I said, if,
It's a big if, it's an if. So
This clause was in the previous,
yes, this clause is in every buyer rep agreement.
yeah,
If the money comes from somewhere else, that'll cover it. This is also saying that you can't double dip.
right.
The buyer can't pay you and the seller pay you also. There's no double dipping.
It's just the open house is that. What happens if you're doing an open house? And the listing agent is from a different brokerage, whose insurance covers the open house?
Okay, we are insured. Our errors and omissions insurance covers us to do an open house anywhere for anyone. Our errors and omissions insurance. Right, with Keller Williams Beverly Hills. So we're covered, you're covered as an agent to do anything that agent, you can't do property management.
Okay, yeah,
But you're covered to be an agent, no matter what.
so.
But we can't have brokers from other companies come and do our open houses. That, we don't have insurance for that. Your insurance is for you.
Yeah, okay. So we can do an open house for Coldwell Banker or any other.
Yes.
Okay.
Because your errors and omissions insurance is covering you to do that. You're covered for all licensed activity. But we're not covered if you have someone do your open house, not at this office. Right? So.
I don't know. And so like, if God forbid there's someone trips and falls at an open.
And you weren't there and someone else and another broker was.
Not covered.
It's not covered, of course not.
can the buyer say that, okay, I will sign this, but I only want you to put office. If the seller pays the commission, like I only wanna work and
So the only danger here is I just want you to realize. The danger here is you have to have. A number here that you're happy to get. If you have a lower number here, like 2% or 1.5%, that's all you're gonna get.
so that doesn't matter.
Well,
For example, if I have a, okay, it matters to me too, but if the buyer tells you, okay, put whatever percentage you want, but I won't be paying. So make sure you only put offer on the listings that the seller will compensate you.
Okay, interesting.
Can this happen?
How do you know that the seller's compensating?
Deal with the listing.
So no matter what. no matter what, we are gonna write an offer that asks the seller to pay our fee. No matter what. When I'm talking to a seller on a listing appointment, and the seller's like, I heard I don't have to pay commissions anymore, Clarence. No, that's not. Of course, you're paying commissions. Every single offer that you get is going to ask you to pay the buyer's commission. Just understand that every single offer that comes in is going to request you to pay at least 2.5% to the buyer's agent. Like, I want to set my seller up for that expectation that they know offers are going to come in. Buyers don't have extra cash to pay their agents. They just don't. They have to finance it.
That's why they want me, that's why I would think that my buyers would want to make sure that no matter what, I'm not paying the commission, so make sure only the seller pays. So is there a way that we can make sure before we put our offer, or? No?
You can call the other agent and you can ask. Now, there are some agents that will have their seller sign that they approve in advance to paying a commission to a buyer's agent.
That's good.
Okay. That's going against what CAR and DOJ want. Okay, it is. They didn't want commissions. Well, actually, they didn't want commissions to be paid from the broker.
Yeah, if the seller agrees to pay, it's fine, I guess.
One of the documents that we have now, one of our 4 documents, is a listing agreement addendum that says seller also authorizes the listing broker to represent, communicate, advise, and or advertise verbally and or in writing that the seller is willing to consider paying a buyer's broker a certain amount. Now, this is not saying that they're agreeing to it in advance. It's saying that they're willing to consider. Right? That's the issue that is protecting us from getting sued.
I just don't understand. If I'm a buyer and there's a possibility that the seller can pay the commission, I just want to make sure before I sign like that, I'm only gonna put offers on the,
So just to be clear, all you can do is ask the other agent, is your seller paying a commission?
that's horrible.
And they can say yes to it, or you can put it in an email. But in reality, if the seller doesn't agree, they can't be sued for it.
But you can back up from your offer then, if the seller doesn't pay.
The only thing that you can do. The only thing that you can do now is. In your. So this is what, this is the property showing agreement. It says here that. No, I have in my highlighted stuff. If there's no money to pay you, you're off the hook. You can back out. If there's no money, if you're not gonna get paid, you're not.
That's where you showed buyer doesn't have sufficient funds.
If no, well, there is a checkbox for that. It's in the BRBC, so let's just. So in the BRBC, there is a checkbox here for buyer does not have sufficient funds to pay broker. Now, checking that box allows you to request financial information from the buyer. There's another form to request financial information from the buyer. Now, there is something here that just, I don't want to locate it right now, but here we go. Limitation. During time of resolve. I know that there's something here that says that there's no like constitution. So.
You highlighted, I have all your highlighted.
It's highlighted, yeah. But we're talking about the listing process.
Yeah.
All right. I handed something out. Does anyone not have a handout? I handed something out. I think, who's involved here? Okay, so you guys have to have listing, you guys are gonna have to go tomorrow with listing presentations,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay, so. Talk about that. Let's talk a bit about the process. So. When you're at your listing presentation, take as many notes as you can. When I go on my listing appointment, I have a folder that I've made in advance, preparing for my listing. So I'm taking my notes on on the outside of my folder. When I'm walking through the property, I'm writing on here. Most important thing I'm writing is the name of the seller that I'm meeting. So I don't forget their name while I'm talking to them. Very important. So that could be embarrassed. All right, so I have my address and zip, I have the name of the seller. Okay, I'm walking through the property, I'm taking my notes. Just as I'm walking through the property, every bedroom that I see, a bedroom has to have a closet and a window. Be called a bedroom. Every bedroom I see, I'm gonna put a 1 and a circle. Okay. Every bathroom that I see, I'm gonna put a plus and then whatever the bathroom is. If it has a tub, that's a full bath. So I'm gonna say +1. If it's a shower only, I'm gonna put +3/4. If it's a powder room, it's a toilet and a sink, I'll put +1/2 and I'll circle that. So at the end of my tour, I'm gonna have a bunch of 1s with circles, and then I'm gonna have a bunch of +1, +3/4, +1/2. And I'll know exactly how many bedrooms and bathrooms I have.
And I have to have a door.
A door? Yes, otherwise it's a den. Right, a bedroom has to have a door, yeah. So there has to be some privacy.
I hosted an open house and the agent was calling it as a.
It could be a divider, yeah. So, yeah, so when I'm typing my description of a property in the MLS, I don't want to disappoint anybody. I don't want agents coming in and saying, or buyers coming in and saying, you advertise this as a such and such, and it's not, and it's misrepresentation, and so I don't want to get into that.
How about guest house? Can you add this as another bedroom?
So I've noticed a lot in West Hollywood where you'll have a lot of 2-bedroom, 1-bath, or 2-bedroom, and there's been a garage that was converted to a guest house. A lot of agents in West Hollywood will combine the square footages and the bedroom and bath count and put them as whatever they're calling that property.
Only if it's permitted.
And in the description, they'll say what it is. House consists of this much square footage, this many bedrooms and bathrooms, plus guest house, right? So if whatever you're doing, describe it. All right, so let's see. Okay, first of all, take really good notes during your walkthrough. You'll want to reference this while writing your ad copy. Yes. So we have ChatGPT now, which we didn't have before, which is awesome. When meeting with the seller, talk about open houses. So I have in here in my listing presentation, which I'll show you, a calendar to walk through with them, talking about how open houses. Discuss your offer acceptance strategy. So you might say, we're going to go on the market for 2 weeks and have 2 open houses before we'll accept an offer, right? This is good dialogue to have with the seller. Banks you can't buy a property directly from a bank anymore. Like when a property goes to foreclosure and the bank gets it back, that's called an REO, real estate owned backed by the bank. So basically, if someone stops paying their mortgage, the lender forecloses, it's going to go to auction at the courthouse steps. If nobody bids at the auction, now it goes back to the bank. That's an REO. Banks don't sell REOs directly. But they have to get listed. Why? The bank has a board of directors. They have to answer to their stockholders. If the banks were to sell properties directly, like before the savings and loan crisis, if banks were to sell properties to people directly, they could get accused of selling to their own clients, right? There's no way to know that they're getting the most money for their shareholders. The only way to know that for sure is for the bank to list the property. So, make your asset manager connections now with the banks. go to your bank.
When was it?
Since after the SNL crisis, this is for a while now.
Say, Jason, that if the auction's house, not interested in the house, it's probably a really bad house.
No, well, if nobody bought the property at the auction, it means that there was too much money, no, there's too much money owed on the loan. Because the bank is foreclosing for what the loan plus fees, right? And they're gonna, and the lender's gonna, they're gonna start the beginning bid. But they might just take it back and fix it up and then put it on the market with an agent. So I would say make your connections now with the asset managers of the banks. They're really hard to get in touch with. Impossible to find out who the asset managers are. But now's the time to make the connections, not once foreclosures start. Because the agents that already have the relationships are gonna be getting the business.
So
Yeah.
is it up to asset manager to find the land?
So you have to find out who the asset manager is of the bank and then make a relationship with the asset manager. I mean, it's hard, I'm not telling you this is easy.
But is it up to him to,
It's up to the asset
The agent?
to dispose of the property, yes. Yes, that's what you want. You want to find out who the asset manager is that's in charge of choosing the listing agent. Yes. All right, so you're gonna discuss open houses. Strategy. So are we gonna, a lot of banks, when they need to answer to their shareholders, they need to make sure that the property was advertised and that it had open housing. Makes sense, right? So you might be saying to your seller, this is how you get the most money. We don't accept offers right away. We make sure that it's properly advertised. We're gonna wait a couple of weeks. We'll advertise in the MLS that offers due by a certain date. And, we'll have our public open houses. You'll know that there's gonna be sellers that you're dealing with that have siblings. They have to answer to their brothers, sisters, right? And they don't want to get sued by their own family. So the only way to avoid that stuff, not the only way, but a good way to avoid those kind of issues are that they proved that the property was priced right accordingly, and it was plenty of time on the public, in the MLS, open houses, everyone had a chance to bid, right? I do want to say something real quick about exclusions. If you go to a listing appointment and a seller says to you, I want to exclude so-and-so from my listing agreement because I've been talking to them about buying the property for a little while now, and I want to exclude them. All right. Here's how we handle that kind of scenario. We say, I understand. Let's give them 2 days. Once it hits the market, let's exclude them for 2 days. There has to be a limit of time that we exclude them for. Because it's not fair for me to start spending a ton of money on this property, right?
Regardless, you
Don't want to spend time, money, having other agents come, having their buyers write offers and all that. Before we get into all that, let's sign a listing, exclude your buyer that you think might buy for a couple of days. You'll call them after we sign this and say, I just listed my property and you have 2 days now to write an offer.
Before
Before you start doing all this craziness, right? Because you don't want to go 30 days into a deal or 15, 20 days, right? And then all of a sudden the exclusion is buying the property and you're out. Right, so that's how we handle that, just so you know. It will come up in your dealings, trust me. All right, so we want to get the seller to clean the clutter, obviously, get everything off the counters, make room inside cabinets, bookshelves, and closets. This is a psychological thing for any buyer walking into a property. Clean sells. So we want clean, clean, clean. There are many different levels of clean. Everyone has a different standard of clean. We want squeaky clean, 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 clean. When you go into a closet, there should be empty hangers in the closet. Tell your sellers, get rid of stuff, get it out of here, just put it in storage. There needs to be room and empty hangers in the closet. On the bookshelves, there needs to be room on the bookshelves. There should not be anything stacked on the floor or stacked in the top of the closet. This is a psychological subliminal. It's subliminal because when people see room, they think there's plenty of room. If people see clothes that are like, you have like, when people see closets like that, they think there's no room. They're busting out here. And stacked, things are stacked. There's no room to store anything. So we don't want anything stacked. We want to have room on cabinets. Okay, so we need to get the seller thinking like this. So then you're discussing with the seller when the property's gonna be photo ready, discuss the timing. You might want to do some private showings before the MLS entry. So if you have your own buyers, now that the property's fixed up, maybe bring them in now when the property's fixed up. I would say, yes, do that.
You can do that during the coming soon.
I want to bring my buyers in when the property looks the best, because I want my buyers to sign a buyer rep agreement with me on this property, not wait for it to go on the market and then they bring in their own agent. Right? So I want to get my buyers locked up with a buyer rep agreement. Why would they sign the buyer rep agreement with me? Because I'm the one showing them the property before.
What's your time frame for that? You have like 24 hours
No, I just want them to sign the buyer rep agreement. Once they sign the buyer rep agreement,
to show them, like from, like when the list, let's say the house is organized and everything.
it's up to you. You're the listing agent. It's totally up to you. You're in charge. So this is your listing. You have an opportunity to also get a buyer side commission, right? You have buyers that are saying, I'll use you. Okay, here's your, now. You gotta sign this paper now. Yeah,
But don't you have to sign the buyer's rep agreement?
before the showing.
Take them that,
Yeah, before you take it to the house, yes.
so what difference does it make how dirty the house is that?
I don't want, no. Oh, no, I want my buyer to see a nice house.
I know, but you've already signed the agreement before they walk in.
Correct. But I want my buyer to pay the most money.
Right.
If my buyer doesn't pay the most money, they're not getting the property.
Yeah, okay.
So I was just talking to someone yesterday. They were saying that they had a listing. They took it off the market. They were on the market in 1 week. They took it off the market. They're improving the property now, floor, paint. They're gonna stage it and then put it back on the market. She said when she was taking her mom out to see property, that she would take her mom into properties that were horrible but staged beautifully. And the mom would say, wow, this is lovely. So she understood that buyers don't have imagination. Like even her own mom, like she's only looking at the beauty of the staging. So buyers don't have imagination. You want the property to look gorgeous. Why bring them in? If you bring them in before the property looks the best it can, they're not going to want to offer them. Yep.
So, I was under the impression that we weren't able to, show the property during the coming soon status. Is that true or?
I don't really know what coming soon status is.
Yeah, so, you're able.
I don't use coming soon.
Oh, okay.
I don't use coming soon because I want to have the highest chance of getting my own buyer. If I put the property coming soon, other agents are going to bring their buyers, which could have been my buyers.
Isn't it a technique though to kind of like?
Look, I'm in this for the money. Why did you guys get into real estate?
Like,
Right? I want to make as much money as I can. If I have a listing that I worked really hard for, I want to try to get my own buyers for it, right? So if I put coming soon, I'm inviting all these buyers to come and not use me.
Well, they cannot get in the property when the property is not available.
Once I'm coming soon, I've lost my opportunity to get my own buyer. If I have buyers that have signed into my other open houses that I know I can contact, I have a pocket listing right now that I've signed a listing on, no one else knows about. I'm contacting those buyers. Hey, I have something I can show you before it goes on the market. Why would I do coming soon? I'm showing you a property not on the market. You have an opportunity to get it. You have to use me. Right? Look, I want you guys to earn as much money as you can.
I don't even know
What
what
is it?
what's the purpose of coming soon.
Yeah, what's,
What is the purpose of coming soon? I have no idea.
And the problem is,
Here's the purpose of coming soon.
yeah,
Once dual agency is over, I'm gonna do coming soon.
yeah,
Right? If there's no more dual agency, now I have extra time to publicize the property before my days start ticking, day 1, day 2, day 3.
if there's like a tenant in your property and you wait, and you know that tenant's leaving in a couple of weeks, you put it coming soon.
I mean, I don't know why coming soon exists actually. It's just to give the property more time to be publicized, create excitement.
more than what you signed.
So, what creates excitement? Creates urgency. I know agents that won't have a 3-hour open house. They'll have a 1-hour open house. that creates a lot of excitement and urgency because all of a sudden, all those people that were to come over a 3 hour period now crammed into a 1 hour period. And they see all these agents coming in or buyers coming in, and they think there's gonna be so much activity on this house, they get the price up. So
Is that the best strategy?
it's a good strategy. It's a good strategy. So
Also deters people, I would think too, if you think
It
you don't,
could.
because
it could,
It's gonna be
but there,
crowded.
you're looking for that person that says, I want this house, no matter what. If you get 2 of those people that I want this house no matter what, that's how you get the most money per house.
It's a beauty.
You need 2. You need 2 buyers to get the most money per house. All right, so how do we do that? We clean the clutter, right? We do all our agent stuff that we do. So let's keep going. Print the MLS listing input sheet. I'm gonna show that to you. Fill this out with the seller. Okay, you can. Get a copy of keys, alarm codes, and remotes from the seller. All right, now I'm gonna be showing this property, right? Are there dogs on the property? Do I need to put the dogs away first? Like, these are things I need to plan for. I need keys, I need an alarm code if there's an alarm that gets set. What do I do with the dog? Like, I need to plan this out. If there's like a dog bed, do I need to put it somewhere? All right, I want to prepare for every showing. I want to make sure I get there early. I turn on all the lights, open shutters, blinds. I want the property to look its best. All right. Get HOA or management contact info. So when you're at your listing, you're gonna ask your seller, when you're at your listing appointment, can I get the phone number to the HOA or to the property manager, to the property management company? And you need to know as a listing agent what the rental restrictions are, what the pet restrictions are. Right? If you sell your property to an investor, can they rent it right away, or do they have to wait a year? Dogs, what are the pet restrictions? Are you allowed to have a dog? How many can you have? Is there a weight restriction or a type of animal restriction? Okay, don't forget to put a sign on the property.
JJ,
Yes.
hi, I have a question about that HOA. So I was showing a property in Burbank and the listing agent was very adamant, like, oh no, the HOA won't give any information out to anyone but owners.
Okay.
So we'll have our owner reach out and get back to you. But then they called and they're like, yeah, no, it's just not available. Like, I don't know what your seller is expecting to
Okay.
get because they aren't going to get it.
Okay, so when I'm in that situation,
Uh-huh.
I'll go into the MLS and find the most recently sold property in the building or in that HOA. And I'll contact the agent or agents and ask them if they can please send me a copy of the CCNRs for the property.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
I'll say, can you please do me a huge favor? The HOA is not cooperating with me. I'm listing such and such property. As a return favor, if you have any buyers, I'll get you in there first. Once the property's ready to be shown. If I'm gonna call someone and ask them for a favor, I need to think about what I'm gonna give them in return for the favor. Right?
Right.
So
right.
I'm offering them, if they have any buyers, I'll let them do first showings there.
Gotcha.
And the MLS, before I ran across the HOA phone number a couple of times.
Oh, okay, so
And
when we input our listings into the MLS,
Yeah.
there are fields to put in the HOA's contact information. I never do it.
I ran across a phone number.
I never do. Sometimes an agent will put it. Yeah, so, but I don't do it. Those HOAs don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they let them be bothered by the person that's in contract. Hopefully,
want to deal with it either. They don't want
the
to.
agent didn't want to deal with all the questions. That's exactly what happened.
They said, ask the HOAs.
Exactly, exactly. All right, so don't forget to order your signs. You will hopefully put a sign on the property. Find out what the city sign regulations are. So every city has different sign regulations. Make sure you know what they are. LA is the least. So Los Angeles actually does have sign regulations, they're just not enforced. That's true. Like, I don't think you can put a sandwich sign on a corner in LA. But every single person does. It's not enforced. And I don't think you can do it. But it's not enforced. Buy sign writers from BHGL AAR store. Did you get a sign? No. I didn't.
I ordered, no, I ordered it. I ordered it.
You ordered, okay.
It's coming.
So a sign writer is just that extra little thing that says pool, view, guest house.
Where you would slide in like for sale or sold.
Exactly, very good, yes. If you have a house with a guest house that you're selling, definitely put a writer there, guest house, or if you have a pool spa, put a writer, pool spa. Order a preliminary title report. Now's a good time as a listing agent to get a copy of the title report. So open a title order with Brandon Miller, Lauren Goldman, Jerry Ferris. Because if there are any issues preventing you from selling the property, you want to know now. So get the title report. Order a termite report. So this is an interesting one. When I started this business, there was something called a wood pest addendum, a WPA. And that would be usually submitted with an offer, asking the seller to pay for termite work in advance. And every seller would agree to it. Every property, when you saw a tent on it, you knew it was being sold, right? That was the wood pest addendum. CAR got rid of it and said, make it part of the buyer's inspections. Now, as a buyer, when you do general inspection, you do a termite inspection, sewer inspection, termite is one of them. The reason that CAR got rid of the termite inspection was because what was supposed to happen was a listing agent was supposed to order a termite report as soon as they got the listing and tell the seller how much the cost and damages are for the termite, how much the repair work would be. And a seller would know in advance. And then when someone wrote an offer with a wood pest addendum, they already knew in advance how much the cost was. CAR realized no one was doing it and asking sellers to pay in advance agree to an unknown cost for repair. So the seller was technically agreeing to an unknown cost. So they got rid of it. So they just said, make it part of the buyer's inspections. If you want, you can order a termite report up front.
Richard?
Yeah.
If there's any issue in title, is this agent's responsibility to know?
Well, if you can't get a title policy, you can't sell the house. So we need to make sure there's no cloud on title. What could be a cloud on title? An unknown family member. No one knew about, right?
On the title?
So title's gonna say who's on title, who's on there, right? I mean, when I'm writing an offer, I'm going onto the title website and I'm pulling the grant deed so I can see.
I don't understand anything from those.
So I've written an offer and included the trustees. And I'll send the offer to the listing agent and I'll say, who's this person that you put on your offer? They didn't even know that there was someone else on title because they didn't want title report.
But if you're pulling, so like if you're pulling one that says that it's in a trust
Yeah.
or an LLC, how are you then getting, how do you request getting access to all the people in the trust?
So
So my parents have 3 or 4 people on it, but it's only listed with their names.
right.
So how would you find
So
who else is in it?
So we will not have direct access to the trust itself
Yeah,
or to the LLC bylaws.
yeah.
So escrow will.
So they'll make sure all.
They'll make sure as soon as you send your deal to escrow is going to immediately contact the entity
Okay,
and say, I need a copy of this, I need a copy of that, to make sure that everyone who's supposed to sign is signing.
so okay, so that's, yeah.
Yeah, escrow will immediately make sure.
Yeah, JJ.
Yeah.
Also, if the successor trustee, whoever can't find the trust,
We're in trouble.
it's gonna go to.
It'll go to probate, yeah.
Yeah.
We're in trouble, yeah. All right, let's keep going. Schedule a photographer, schedule a virtual tour, schedule a floor plan if you want to. Ask escrow to order a 9A report. Now, this 9A report is a city report. That's for Los Angeles, the 9A. Every city might have its own type of city report. This 9A report used to take a long time to get, and that's why I wrote it here. I think it's online now and they can get it really quickly, but it used to be something that takes time. One thing that does take a lot of time right now is insurance quotes. If you are selling a property, make sure your buyer immediately, even if you're writing an offer, before it even gets to escrow, have your buyer request an insurance quote with that property address, get the ball rolling. Because that quote could come back right away, or it might take 2 weeks. I have a deal right now that it's in escrow already 40 days and there's still not a proper insurance quote on the property. How can that be? Yeah, it's
Wow.
How common are virtual tours?
Virtual tour. So I do one for every listing I have.
Yeah,
I,
I feel like I see them a lot.
yeah, I use the Matterport. It's the 3D walkthrough tour.
Yeah.
So I was using that forever, even before COVID started. But during COVID, it was amazing because people could actually walk through a property without being there. So I do it more for sellers to show them what I do,
Yeah.
right? Then maybe it's not being used that much, but some people love it.
Are you normally paying for it?
I always pay for it.
Okay.
What is the general cost of that?
The general cost. So I use a company called LA 360 VR. LA 360 VR. So this is just one company, LA360VR.com. So here's pricing. Do they do this walkthrough? Yeah. It allows your buyer to walk through with their keyboard and mouse. Pretty cool stuff. Here, so 3D virtual tour plus high-res photos, floor plan, 349.
So they'll also take all of your photos.
Everything.
Actually, years long.
Oh, it's from.
They actually go into property and do all this stuff.
That's cheaper than paying a photographer separately too. Photographers get.
Don't give this information to your seller, by the way. This is your value. Like, don't tell them. They should.
How common,
Sellers should think it costs thousands of dollars.
how common are floor plans here?
Floor plan. Why not? So if you go into a complicated property, you want a floor plan.
They're really common up north, that's why.
So now, I'm sorry.
I interrupted.
The Matterport, the 3D virtual tour also has a built-in floor plan,
So you-
which is really, really cool.
You get everything.
It's really cool. Yeah.
The 9A report,
I know.
is that required for all types of properties like?
It's only required for City of Los Angeles. Well, it's not required. It's 9A required. Yes, it's a required disclosure. The seller is required to give the disclosure to the buyer.
So does it matter if it's a condo, if it's a mobile home, as long as it's in
It's gonna go to the buyer. I've asked, if you ask escrow right now, what's on the 9A, they won't give you a straight answer. Because there's always gonna be something different on the 9A. It's just different things could just show up on there. One of the things that shows up on a 9A or maybe certificate of occupancy. Maybe the property doesn't have a certificate of occupancy. Awesome. How many legal structures are on the property? Or any codes that's been violating. There's all kinds of things that can show up on the 9A. Most everyone will recommend you never close escrow without seeing the 9A report.
Los Angeles.
The 9A.
Is that?
City of Los Angeles.
9A,
The 9A. It's actually a 12C. And everyone calls it the 9A.
I remember.
It's actually a 12C. It used to be called a 9A a long time ago. Everyone just calls it the 9A.
Ask escrow to check it.
Escrow should be ordering it immediately. So when you take a listing, as soon as you open escrow is gonna request a check from your seller. This is the only thing the seller has to come out of pocket with. Is a check for $73.20, I believe,
That's the
payable to the city.
9A report.
9A report, yeah. Yeah. All right, know your advertising deadlines. So this is important. If you want to get, so there's a book that comes out in the front of our office called the MLS Caravan Magazine. That comes out on Mondays, and that shows the Tuesday open houses. In order to get published in that book, you need to have your open house scheduled in the MLS by 10 a.m. Friday. If you want to be in that book, that's the deadline. All right, so just know that, because think backwards. In order to be in that book, in order to make your reservation by Friday at 10 a.m., you have to have your pictures back from the photographer before that. So you have to have your pictures back on Thursday. When do you have to take your pictures? Maybe Tuesday, or to get your pictures back Thursday. So just, you have to work backwards to make sure you're hitting your deadlines. If you want to be in the LA Times, so for $79, you can have a picture photo open house ad in the LA Times. But that deadline is Wednesday at 5 p.m. So you have to make sure you have your pictures before that. You might have to have your pictures done on Monday or Sunday. So just working backwards. All right. Another thing you can do is phone announcements to other brokerages. For your open house, prepare signs, prepare your flyers, prepare your signage sheets, prepare little arrows to stick on call boxes. So I go over this in my open house class, but you know, when someone comes to a condominium, they get there and then you have to figure out how they're getting through the front door. How are they reaching you? So you have to have a sign on the call box maybe? Or you can tape the door lock so it doesn't lock. If you do that, you know, be prepared for some angry occupants because you've now breached their security, right? So if you're taping that door lock so it can't lock. But make sure that people know what to do when they get there. So they're gonna come in the front door, however you figured that one out. Then they're gonna get to the elevator, they're gonna press up, and then they're gonna get in the elevator. They're not gonna remember what floor to get off. Make sure you have a little arrow pointed on the button that says open house. When they get off the elevator, have a sign as they exit with the directional, right? So just things to think about. Plan ahead. Bring business cards. Bring local school information, so you can talk about that with buyers. Bring area statistics. If the building's a condo, confirm with the HOA regarding which parking spaces are assigned to the unit. Title doesn't ensure parking spaces, even if they're mentioned in the legal description of the property. This is interesting. If you have unit 201 and the title actually says legal description of property, unit 201, parking spaces 38, 39. Title doesn't ensure that your parking spaces are 38 and 39. Because this can be changed between agreements between owners and stuff. That's not recorded. So just know that it's not. All right. The next pages here are a form that used to be in CAR and is no longer in CAR. So I just wanted to share it with you. If you're like, you know, I'm not going to go through every step of this right now, but you should read through this. Just know that you don't have to give disclosures to a buyer until after you're in escrow. You have 7 days. You have 7 days to get the disclosures to a buyer. But this is going to help you talk about things that you should be prepared for. But most of this is about disclosures. So, but this is service. It's called servicing your listing before the sale.
General question.
Yeah.
If a seller signs a listing with someone, and then decides they change their mind, they don't want to sell their house,
Okay.
they can cancel the listing?
Okay. Very good question. You sign a 6-month listing with the seller.
You took photos, like
You
the
took photos, you have the listing, you did an open house, there were no bites right away. And the seller says, you know what, we were hoping we were gonna get multiple offers. It didn't happen. And now we want to cancel our listing. You're now have spent all that money and time and the seller is like, I don't want to do any more open houses or showings. Unfortunately, what can we do? If they're not gonna let us in, they're not gonna let us in. We're not gonna cancel their listing. We're gonna give them a withdraw. We're gonna give them a modification of listing. It's called modificate. We're gonna give them a modification. And the modification is gonna say withdraw from MLS. We're gonna withdraw their property from the MLS. It'll no longer be advertised in the MLS. We're not canceling the listing though. So that means if a buyer comes back in a month or two, or another agent comes knocking on their door saying, I have a buyer, you're gonna be involved in that transaction because you still have a listing agreement.
only if they sell it
You're only entitled
during the time,
to commission if they sell it.
during the time of the.
Yes, to close. Now,
The-
if they prevented you, there is a clause in the listing contract that if the seller prevents you from trying to sell the property, they could be liable for the listing commission. Yes. The seller does not have to take an offer. They don't have to accept an offer. But they can't prevent you from bringing an offer to them. Right? Or technically, if they're standing in your way during your listing period, they are technically responsible for giving you a commission.
Really?
Yeah, because you are putting money and time out, right? So are you gonna go after them? Probably not.
Is it gonna cost you more?
You're gonna get upset.
Yes.
I mean, look, all listings belong to the brokerage. And the brokerage doesn't want to be on the evening news about the upset seller is getting sued for a commission because they decided to take the property off the market. Right? So we don't want that blowback. All right. Let's talk about our listing presentations. You ready for that? Any questions? Everybody should have a listing presentation ready to go. The only thing that you won't have ready to go are your phones. Right? So you're not gonna have your comps. That's what you're gonna be working on for each presentation. So I have these two folders as my grab and go. These are my grab and go folders. I recommend everyone create a grab and go folder. So every open house that you do from now on, keep one of the flyers that you've handed out. Okay, every piece of marketing you do from now on, make a print out of it and put it.
Property and put it in there.
Every piece of marketing that you do, put it in a marketing folder. Just have a folder, marketing folder. Every time you do something, put one copy in your marketing folder. And you're gonna, over time, that's gonna get thicker and thicker and thicker. And then every listing appointment that you go on, you're gonna bring that with you and you can show them stuff that you've done. Right? Doesn't have to be your listing because it's you're printing out with another address, right? You did that open house, so it's something that you printed.
You talk about client detail shorts, right?
Client detail shorts. Yeah, client detail shorts, postcards, everything. Whatever you do, make a copy and put it in your marketing folder. Now, how do you want to present to the seller your listing present? So you can get very thin 3-ring binders. And this, what are you gonna bring to your appointment and leave with the seller? There are some agents that want to only include in their listing presentation what they're gonna discuss at the appointment. And there are some other agents who want this to be as big as a phone book. Okay, that's totally up to you. This is an option. So you can have a 3-ring binder, very narrow, and just you can have your printed listing presentation here, put a nice cover sheet in here, comparative market analysis, whatever. This is also something that I've had custom printed for myself. In our marketing department, they have this for Beverly Hills, obviously not with their name on it, but they have these. I think they're selling them now for $25. Basically, I have a machine that I'll put everything in here, and there's a machine that this has glue here, and then it goes in the machine and it heats this up, and all the pages melt inside.
That's for the listing presentation?
This is my listing presentation that I leave with the seller.
Cause they so it's similar to what they're printing at the.
Right. They do it. They've ordered these binders that they're selling for $25.
Nice.
You can do it here on this.
Yeah, that's nice.
I printed. I had these made for myself.
Name and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just something to think about.
Something you live with the seller.
This is something I would be leaving with the seller. Yeah. So how many people are doing this? I don't know. Not many people. And then you have to think about what you're leaving in there. What you're leaving with them. I don't want to leave anything with my seller that is going to help them if they don't choose me. All right. I also need to. I have to convey my value to the seller so much that they have to use me. Right? If the seller is thinking that they're going to use their friend, I need to have such a great appointment that shows my value that they're going to call their friend and say, hey, how do I break this to you? Right? So that's what I need to do on my listing appointment. Yeah.
So I mean, isn't the objective to leave that appointment with the listing
Yes.
signed?
Yes.
Because I'm guessing they're probably gonna be most impressed at that point in time. The longer
Yes.
you give them to chew on that, the more they're gonna be hesitant to.
So at my listing appointment, I want to make sure that everyone who is on title is gonna be there. If there's gonna be someone missing, I want to either reschedule or see if they can be present virtually for FaceTime while I'm there, right? I don't want to rely on someone to communicate to someone else what I'm saying, because that will never happen.
So if there's one point you want to be pushing, that's the moment in time when you want to be pushing about them signing on the.
So not to be,
Get that chance.
not gonna be pushy, I'm going to be persuasive. I don't know if you want to call it pushy. I'm gonna be asking questions to them to persuade them to sign my listing agreement. Like, what's the next step? They're gonna be coming up with objections. We need to talk to this person first, right? So maybe I'll say, well, okay, identify the objection. Okay, I understand that you want to talk to this person first.
It could be,
Is there anything else preventing you from signing the listing today?
if they could say, listen, we've made appointments with two other agents. I want to give them a fair shot, but I don't want that to happen.
Okay, is there anything else preventing you from signing the listing today besides talking to those two agents? I need to isolate the objections. I want to know what my objections are. Once I've isolated the objections, and then I can solve the objections, then I can get them to sign the listing. I need to first isolate the objections and then answer them. In that scenario where there's two other agents that need to be contacted, I am going to end my meeting with, I will contact those other two agents. After we sign this, I will contact those other two agents for you, so you don't have to call them and break the news to
Oh,
them. Right. Right. So isolate the objection, answer the objection. What's the next step? Is there anything else preventing you from signing right now? What's the next step? So I'm asking them, what's the next step? They know the next step is to sign the listing. This is to sign the listing agreement. Okay, so what's in my listing presentation? All right, so I'm gonna create a folder. Anyone who's in bold, come see me. I'll give you a folder if you want to bring it tomorrow. So I'm gonna make a label, address and zip code. I'm gonna write my seller's name, so I don't forget it while I'm talking to them. The first thing I'm gonna have inside my folder is the listing agreement, because that's why I'm there. They need to sign a listing agreement. So this is gonna take a little time. I need to fill out a listing agreement. I'm gonna go on title, make sure I have everyone there. I'm gonna print a property report with a grant deed. That's how I know my sellers are. I'm gonna print a plat map. That's also gonna be on the assessor page or title page. Parcel profile report from Zemus. I'm gonna go and look up, there's places where I can look up permits. And I can find out a bunch of stuff on the parcel profile report. I can find out if the property is any kind of hazard zone, earthquake zone, fire zone, flood zone. I can find out if there's an emergency earthquake gas shutoff valve installed or not. But basically, I'm gonna click on the view permit page here. And every city has a different building and safety area where you can find permits. Because there's gonna be information that I'm finding that I'm gonna be asking questions to the seller while I'm sitting with them. I guarantee you, other agents are not doing this, right? I'm showing them that I am preparing myself to deal with every buyer, to talk to them, educated about this property. So now, the first thing you should do when you walk into ask the seller, is there anything we need to discuss before signing the listing agreement?
Right?
They say no, you're good to go.
Is there anything we need to discuss before we sign a listing agreement? It means I'm not gonna spend 45 minutes in your house if you're ready to sign, and I can just get signed and get my job started. Yeah, there's no reason for me to go through all this stuff. If you're ready to sign, sign. Is there anything we need to discuss before you sign the listing agreement? What do you want to discuss? Well, they're gonna say, well, we have a lot to discuss. Okay, fine, great. Let's go, we'll go in the kitchen. So you want to go into the kitchen, you don't want to go in the living room. You cannot do anything on a sofa or a chair, I have my feet dangling off the front, I can't do that. It's really hard to show someone paper while while you're on your knees next to them and they're sitting in this big sofa seat, right? You can't, it doesn't work. You got to go in the kitchen where everyone's comfortable. Be at the kitchen table where they're comfortable. Don't go in the dining room. That's only for formal. Like no one's comfortable in the dining room unless they're eating. So go in the.
That's all you have.
If that's all you have. So,
But if they're serving, then you go to the dining.
look, if they're serving you food, if someone is offering you food and drink, I think it's rude to say no. Maybe I don't know. You better call it as if someone is bringing you tea and dates or whatever. I don't know. Like I would definitely partake. Right. I don't want to insult anybody.
Enjoy dishes.
I think someone could be very insulted. I don't know. So, all right. So I want to be in the kitchen. I also want to position myself where I can see everyone that I'm talking to. They're all in my line of sight. I don't want to have one person sitting here and one person sitting here, and they're making motions to each other. Right? Get this guy out of here. No, I want to see everyone. If there's someone on FaceTime, they'll be involved also. All right, what else is in here? Seller's estimated net sheet. Don't forget. Go to escrow, ask them to prepare seller's estimated net sheet for you. It's very important to the seller to know what they're gonna get. Now, here's something you need to think about. When you go to escrow and ask them for a net sheet, they're gonna ask you, what's the sales price? You're going with a net sheet with a sales price on it before you even discuss pricing with the seller. So maybe you want to have 3 of these different price ranges. Okay, and not have it here or have them turned over, only pull out the right one. Right? If I go to a listing appointment and I have a seller who's realistic in their pricing and I don't want to overprice it. I don't want to be the one overpricing the property. If you list it at an attractive price, there's going to be offers on the property. And you get 2 people who are interested, it's going to drive the price up, right? But they're going to get market for. Comps. All right, so comps we're going to have in here. There's different styles of reports in the MLS that you can print. There's a column report. There's a feature sheet which shows you the details on each property, and then the market analysis. So the feature sheet, I love Cloud CMA. I'm usually going to go into the MLS for the actual properties that I'm using as comps, but then I'll pull them into Cloud CMA. And I'm going to pull them into Cloud CMA because I love pictures. Cloud CMA gives a great presentation of all the pictures of the property, and I want to sit with my seller and show them the bathrooms and the kitchen for each property and how it was fixed up. I have also put sellers in my car that I want to drive around and show them properties that have recently sold or properties that even didn't sell, expired listings. Because I want to make sure they're on board. If I have a seller that thinks their property is worth way more, I need to actually get them in the car and point the properties in person. This property was on the market for X amount of days, didn't sell. This one also didn't sell. And I'm showing them probably nicer properties than they have. They think their property is worth so much. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes they'll say, every property showed me my property's nicer. Right? Then you've got to realize you're dealing with an unrealistic seller. Right? There's nothing worse than an overpriced listing. An overpriced listing is just the only reason, not saying the only reason, one of the few reasons to take an overpriced listing is because it's in your territory. You don't want another agent to get it. You have a sign on a corner that's gonna have your name on it that you're gonna get other business from. But just make the seller, as long as the seller is aware that you're gonna do your best, but you know, chances are not good that they're gonna sell. So,
Everything you said so far is based on a specific property, so,
yes,
uh.
everything in here is, because this is what I'm going to my listing appointment with.
Title, building permits,
Yes,
net sheet, everything's based on one property.
yes. Yes. There is a little work I'm gonna be doing. Not just comps before, but I'm gonna have my grab folders too. So neighborhood schools, very important. If you're going to a property that's in a good school district, you better know that. Because if the seller brings up the school and you're like, oh, I didn't know that, they might be like, you're out of here. Right? Westwood Charter, people are moving for Westwood Charter, like. You better know it. So always research the schools and the ratings for the schools. MLS listing input sheet. So when you go into the MLS to input your property, you're gonna have to check all the boxes, you know. These are all the check boxes when you're on the MLS to input your property. So you can get this on the MLS under help forms. And you can just look for listing input sheets, bring this with you. So you're able to do it. Now, the time that I fill this out is when the photographer is at the property. When I have my photography being done, because that takes time, I'm letting the photographer walk around and do his thing, and I'm looking and filling this out. So, what else is in here? So, if you go on Google and you Google the real estate transaction in 180 steps, if you just Google 180 steps realtor, you're gonna find a form like this. And it's like all your value. What are you doing? People think you're not doing anything. You're putting a sign, you're getting offers, and that's it. Easy. No, there's so much you're doing, you don't even realize how much you're doing. So just Google this form, 180 steps realtor. And I copied and pasted out of that form my own steps of what I do. And I actually went through them, read them, modified them, right? Basically customized it. So definitely do that. This is part of your value. Not something I'm giving to myself. If you give this to your seller, you are going to overpromise and underdeliver. You don't want to do that because they're going to hold you accountable to every single one of these things. I don't hold myself accountable all at once. So all the things that I'm talking about, I have, as time goes on, if the property's not selling, there's more for me to do. So I'm not going to do the flyers and the postcards, and the newspaper advertising all at once. As we progress, if there's a price reduction, right? I need to save ammo. So as we continue down the road, property's not selling yet. Okay, then I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. So this is part of what to show them as your value up front, but don't give it to them.
All these things you list so far going in the green folder, which you don't give
Yes.
to the seller, but you just like that.
Yes, well, I have to establish my value. Right? Now, the listing presentation that you're actually walking in with and leaving with them. Understand that every agent is going to have the same exact listing presentation. Okay? So yes, you're gonna leave them with a listing presentation. The listing presentation that you leave them with, they may or may not ever look at. Every single agent is leaving the same exact listing presentation with them. Why me? Why the company? Right? I price it well. What to do to get the most money, right? This is the every listing presentation. So you really have to go in there. Why you? Why should the seller pick you and not someone else? Anyone can put the property on the MLS. So you really need to think about your value personally of what you're going to do for them. Now, every seller wants to sell their property for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. That's every seller's dream. That's what they want. Most amount of money, shortest amount of time. Okay. Knowing that, what are you going to do to get them that? How are you gonna get them the most money in the shortest amount of time? So that's what your listing presentation needs to be. Not only that, it needs to wow them and they need to feel that they need you. Right, that you're the one that's gonna get them the most money. All right, let's talk about what's going in here. So this is what I'm not leaving with them. And I'm gonna show them. This is my listing presentation that I'm not, I have two listing presentations. The one that I'm leaving with them and the one I'm not leaving with them. All right, this is the one I'm not leaving with them. All right, so I have here samples of flyers that I've handed out at other properties. Right, so you're gonna have that from open houses that you do, perhaps listing, whatever. So I'm gonna show them, any nice material that I have. We can talk about. If I went through my regular listing presentation, we talked about staging. But this is pictures I have of virtual staging. What is virtual staging? I'm basically showing them before and after. The top photos don't have, it's a blank property. And then the bottom photos have furniture put in virtually. So I'm showing them what that looks like. If you're gonna do door hangers around a neighborhood, right? What does that look like? You'll be ordering those, walking around with those. I'm going to talk to them about the MLS magazine, right? And this is the cover of a MLS Caravan magazine from the front. I wouldn't bring one with you because they might ask you if they can keep it. And then they're gonna have access to all the agents that are advertising in it. I wouldn't do that. But just show them the cover page. What happens when you take the listing, what you do. You're gonna be listed here. This is what most agents are looking at on Tuesday when they go out with their clients. You'll have a listing there. You can take a full page ad. You can also take a showcase ad. And you'll just show them what that looks like for them. So I don't know if other agents are showing them what they're actually doing for them. But if I'm a seller and I'm interviewing agents that I'm gonna hire to sell my property, I want to know what they're gonna do for me. What are you doing to sell my house for the most money in the shortest amount of time? That's what I want to know. So I'm gonna have this in there. This is the LA Times. We're gonna do a Saturday ad. There's gonna be, right? They're gonna be in there. They're also gonna be in the Sunday LA Times for the open house ads. Again, it's only $79. You're going to do this.
But is it effective? Because I'm hearing it's not really effective. Unless you just want to say I'm doing it, but effectiveness, what do you think?
I know if you don't do it, you're not doing it. So your seller, I need to.
79 for 1 week for only one time, one Sunday?
Correct. I would say older people are reading the LA Times.
Regularly.
The young people are not. The young people are on their phones and their computers and iPads. Older people are reading the newspaper.
My boyfriend brings home all the open house ones from it because everyone he works with is old and they all get the newspaper still.
Yeah.
And I'll bring them to me so we can see.
Yeah.
They're only.
I don't know where your buyer's coming from. So part of what I'm telling my seller is I don't know where the buyer's coming
You're
from.
doing yourself all of these?
I do everything myself.
No. Are you doing it for every single
Seller.
you have?
So I don't know where my buyer's coming from. So I need to advertise in all these different places because I don't know where they're coming from. Now, I might have sometimes you're going to have a listing that exactly who your target market is. And then that's who you're going after. And I would say to the seller, this property is perfect for such and such buyer. This is how I'm focusing on this demographic. Right? If you're gonna have a property website, what does that look like? People can download their flyers from the property website. You can use the Keller Williams website for this. What their property will look like on the website. You're just gonna print off the website what it looks like so they can see it. And more LA Times stuff. Other flyers of other properties. If you have, I could talk to them. Okay, this is something agents are probably not doing. This is direct advertising. So I'm going to have a talk with them about where buyers come from. Where do buyers come from? So they're gonna come from the MLS, Zillow, different websites. But they're also gonna be coming from their agents that are contacting them. So how am I getting in touch with agents? So one of the easiest way to get in touch with agents is direct email. So I'm gonna talk about email blast. Our office has their own email blast list. You have your own email blast list. Another way to get in contact with agents is
You can
this
say,
company, they distribute flyers into agents' inboxes of their company. So this company, I'm gonna send them a PDF of the MLS printout for the property flyer. And they're gonna print however many and go distribute them in offices and agents' inboxes. So that's the one way I'm gonna hit agents. Another way I'm gonna hit agents is phone calls. I'll call the front desk of a brokerage, and I'll have a 10-second blurb about the property, inviting agents to my open house. I'll hang up, I'll call back to the front desk and I'll say, I just left a general voicemail. Can you please blast that out to everyone in your office? So everyone that has an extension at the office will receive that in their voicemail. This is something every door direct mail. So I'm going to talk to them about that. For postcards that I'm leaving, or any kind of print material can go every door direct mail. This is also something that we can do. It's AdWorks. I'm not going to tell them what company, but this is through AdWorks. We have a special deal through Keller Williams. It's ADWERX. This is the follow me advertising. ADWERX. If you're going to advertise with them, Google Keller Williams AdWorks, and you'll get to a page that has a 15% discount.
And they have like preset like designs for.
Yeah, it's very easy, very simple designs. But you can target basically wherever your property is. You'll be able to target anyone surfing in that zip code. It'll appear in their browser. Pretty cool.
The flyer, I'm saying, so what do they do? I'm sorry.
This little box ad right there.
No, the AdWorks.
AdWorks, yeah, this is follow me advertising. So you can have a picture of your new listing, and when someone clicks it, it links to your webpage.
Oh.
Now your property webpage is going to be a lead capture website under Keller Williams, right? So if someone is trying to get to your listing, it's going to ask them for their name, their phone number, before it gives them the result. So this you want lead capture. So this is something that you're going to do for them, for your seller. Look, you're going on a $5 million listing appointment. What are you doing for that commission, right? This is something you're doing. This is something I am going to leave with them in my regular listing presentation. This is the insurance policy that every seller will get by listing with us. It insures them if they're sued by the buyer. So this is called the CRESS insurance. It's a seller's E&O covered. We have E&O insurance for ourselves. This is a seller's E&O policy that every seller that lists with us gets automatically. They have $25,000 in coverage if they get sued by the buyer. If we use my NHD for the hazard disclosure, or any of the CRESS home warranties, it goes to $50,000. Free.
Say it again.
Yes, the sellers will get a free E&O policy protecting them if the buyer sues them.
automatically.
Automatically.
And we don't have as an agent to pay anything, and they don't
Correct.
have to pay anything.
It's good for 6 months. If they want to extend it for another 6 months, it's $200. And there's a thing that they can cut. There's a thing that they can cut it and spend the 200 to extend it another 6 months. The only thing it doesn't protect them against is fraud.
JJ, what's that? They get 50,000 benefit if they use what?
They'll get 50,000 benefit if we use my NH
15.
Or my English.
so or a CRESS home warranty.
Or
Fidelity, American, and Old Republic all have CRESS home warranties. They're all over there. So that's a benefit of using us. Also, yeah, here's the certificate that they would mail back. if you have any client testimonials, you'll want to put that in here also. Right, any kind of client testimonial, those are very, very, very powerful. Now, if I'm going after a seller and we have a mutual, I'm gonna go on Facebook. If I hear someone is thinking about selling, thinking about moving, I'm gonna go on Facebook. And, you know, if it's someone that I'm not in contact with regularly or haven't been in contact with for a while, I'm gonna go on Facebook and look at their stuff and see if we have a common friend that they're posting about or whatever. I'm gonna try to get the common friend to make the recommendation to use me. And to, like, right, I know you know JJ, but you know, he's, you know, make sure that you interview him. Right, that is so much more powerful than me calling that person directly and saying, hey, I heard you were selling, can we meet? Right, if it comes from a third party, like, right, think about, if someone calls you directly and says, can I sell your property, you're gonna be like, but if a mutual friend of yours calls and says, hey, don't forget to interview so-and-so because, you know, they're awesome, that's gonna go a long way. It's a lot easier way of getting in contact with someone.
Did you have this client testimonial looks like?
Client testimonials, yeah.
Like from Google reviews?
Google reviews, Yelp reviews, it can be another agent saying how nice it was to work with you. You know, usually when after you do a deal, you'll have an email from the other agent, congratulations, it was great working with you.
Mm.
So, I mean, I have one testimonial in here. This is from Gary Gentry. He was the first Keller Williams agent with Gary Keller. So this is agent number 1 in this company. Wrote to me, thank you, JJ, you're amazing. It's so good to know that we have you to turn to when our California clients need an agent referral.
Is that an email?
This was an
Print
email.
the email?
This was an email. So I printed the email and then I printed about him, who he is.
Nice.
So this is the number 1 agent, the first agent of Keller Williams. I'm his referral agent in LA.
Can you imagine how much he's making as a don, you know?
Yeah,
Underneath
profit share, yeah.
the profit sharing.
It doesn't tell homes.
He has referred
Some
clients to
they
me
make-
and I've sold
Tens of
properties that he referred.
Sponsorship thing?
Because they have thousands of people underneath.
If you have any samples of floor plans, Sharon, this is
The what?
Kind of what?
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of what?
a floor plan. Like if you have a property that you're doing a floor plan, like there's companies that do really nice floor plans for your listings. Yes. So I'm gonna show my seller, you know, what I'll be handing out at my open houses. Right. So these are really nice.
By the way, do you ask your clients to write reviews? Would you prefer Google reviews, Yelp reviews? Because they cannot go to every single platform, right?
So hopefully they will do, I'll ask this once I can get, I'll ask if they won't. Of course they will.
I asked, but they said, you know, oh, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that.
You know, when you have a client that says, what can I do for you? You did such a great job. What can I do? It would be, if you, all I want,
I just said, yeah.
I would love it if you can give me a great review. That's all I'm asking.
And that, which platform's review is most important? Google reviews?
I think Yelp is very powerful.
Say, I feel like Yelp is stronger because people turn to it for
I like Yelp.
a lot more than, I mean, Google, you do searches, but a lot of people do it for like restaurants.
All right, I have in here other sample marketing, like what that looks like. You know, if you guys reach out, okay, so here's an example of the Keller Williams listing presentation.
What is it?
This is the Keller Williams listing presentation. You can ask marketing to send this to you, Kevin. You can ask marketing to send you this Keller Williams listing presentation.
I got
This is a full one. You know, I've asked them for stuff recently. They give me thinner than this. This is a very, very full one.
This is
So-
very one size fits all.
Ask them for the biggest one they have.
Well, I asked you,
I want to get everything they have and I'll decide what to yank out of it. Right? I want to be the one to decide what to yank out of it.
Exactly.
Go to Cloud CMA and look at the different listing presentations in Cloud CMA. And you can add tons and tons and tons of stuff. It's drag and drop in Cloud CMA and what you want it to be in your listing presentation. Okay. Drag everything and then create the listing presentation, download it. You'll have a 200-page PDF listing presentation. And then you can decide what to remove from it. And then delete the pages that you don't want in it. But that's how I would start. I would start with everything, get the whole, every single thing. Go on Cloud CMA, go to profile, fill out everything in your Cloud CMA profile. Your bio, everything you can, and then that will customize a lot of the pages. Also, go on command, go on KW command and look for the printed listing presentation. So you'll log into agent.kw.com. Once you're in agent.kw.com, at the very top, click connect and then type listing presentation. Also, when you're in command, go to advertising. I think it's the advertising icon. And then there's going to be a create. You're going to create printed material. Go to listing presentation. Okay.
You say, let's go to,
When you log into command, there's going to be an icon for advertising. And then it's going to say create. Hit the create button. And then you're going to look for the listing presentation. It's there. KW listing presentation.
We're going to create a buyer presentation.
Buyer presentation, yes.
Is it done?
Yeah, we have buyer presentation and listing presentation. Yeah.
That's good.
If you go in my shared
that's
folder,
higher
if
president.
you go in my shared folder on Sync, I have 4 or 5 different listing presentations from different agents in there. Okay, so definitely look at it. Now, your job is to create out of all of that your own listing presentation. Right? And you want to spend time on this obviously not in class. You should devote a day or two to really focus on your listing presentation, because all you're doing every day is trying to get a listing appointment. That's your whole job. So what do you have your listing appointment ready, right? That all you need to do are the comps, right? The comps and the specific property stuff, like schools and the permits on the property and the listing agreement.
So like these things, what you're saying, like the one on your shared folder, it's just a generic.
So what I'm saying is every agent is using the same listing presentation.
Right.
It's the same. Some are nicer, some are not as nice.
So like
The information in here is the same. When you're trying to get a listing from someone, it's most important that you earn their trust and that you convey to them why you and not someone else. How hard are you going to be working for them? Should they hire the agent that has the whole team and they're never going to see that agent again? Or should they hire you that you have all this time to devote just to selling their property? And these are all the things I'm going to do. This is my marketing plan to sell your property.
like I'm sure when we're talking about this, like, what are your thoughts on like getting a professional presentation from an online vendor?
Hopefully, yeah, I think it's great, but don't spend that much. I mean, don't spend that much money. You can go on Fiverr. Go on Fiverr.com.
Fiber?
Fiverr, FIVR.com. I think it's FIVR.
Fees or
Presentation.
You can hire people from all over the world for $5 to make a really nice, it's $30 maximum.
Find templates on Etsy, it's like a couple bucks and.
Yeah.
Lots of those.
So
Slow down.
check out Fiverr, check out Etsy, I guess. Fiverr. There are people that you can hire, you can see their graphics, they advertise everything they've done. FIVR, I think.
You just give them the information and they.
So if I were to hire someone on Fiverr, I would be looking at their profile, I would be looking at what do they call it, their portfolio.
Resume.
I would look at their portfolio, I would find something that I love that they've done for someone else. And I would say, I want this and I want it customized with this and my name and my information. Make the same thing for me.
For listing presentation.
Yeah. I think it's FIVR, FIVRR.
IVERR.
FIVERR, thank you.
They provide it. PDF.
However you want, however you want. They'll tell you how everything that they do. Yeah, Fiverr. But I would spend time crafting your listing presentation, but this is not why you're gonna get hired as an agent. This is not why you're gonna get hired as an agent, because everyone's gonna have the same presentation. right? You need to come up with why you. And it needs to be so powerful that they won't go somewhere else. It's not impossible. It's earning their trust and it's showing them your marketing plan and them realizing how hard you're going to be working for them to get them the most money in the shortest amount of time and how you're doing that, what you're doing. So, I mean, my goal with every seller is to show them that I am prepared to talk to any buyer that comes into this property, whether they're here for the schools or whatever the benefits of this property are over any other property. That's it. Oh, Robert. So Robert, we're just finishing up. To everyone who's involved, they need to come to Bold tomorrow with the listing presentation.
Everyone has it?
So,
Who's they got it?
so we're talking about that. So I'm saying everyone's coming with the same listing presentation. That's not why you're gonna get hired.
The reason you get hired,
Going bold?
Wait, we're gonna hear Robert's genius.
the reason you get hired is because they like you.
Because they like you. You're building rapport.
You could go in and talk for an hour on data. They like you, they're gonna go with you. It's that. So remember that each one of you is special. Each one of you
I'm
is
special.
go in with that story. And you guys can get listings that I couldn't get, vice versa, because of that rapport. If you get into the numbers, and hey, sir, your house is $2,829.15, because here's what the comps show, they're gonna kick you out. So they will kick you out the door. And I see new agents spend days doing all the comps and they go in because they've been trained, not by JJ. That's what you do. And you don't put an opinion over that. And then some big mega agent takes it for 3 million and sells it the very next day and it's laughing all the way to the bank.
Right. So I want to say I never pick a price. I'm not the one picking the price.
That's very clever.
And the seller says to me, that's why you're here, to give me a price. I'm like, no, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to get you the most money in the shortest amount of time. And price is a strategy that's gonna help us get you the most money. But together, we need to look at the constant active, which is our competition. Together, we'll decide on a price that we want to hit the market with.
Sometimes.
That's not, I'm not here to pick a price. I'm here to discuss the market with you and use price.
Some legality about you telling the sellers what price it is, where they're supposed to.
And they want that price out of you.
Yeah.
They want it.
And sometimes they don't want to listen to anything except the number that they have in mind.
They're
If you give them a number, it's not exactly what their mindset
Oh, yeah.
is. They're passing to.
right. What happens if they have in their brain 3 million, 3 million, 3 million, you come in there and say 2.5.
Exactly.
I know your benefits first. If you give all these benefits, why they should be you?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, if you're just giving them a number, they're kicking you out and never going back with you. You
Yeah.
give them those benefits, they're gonna say, you know what? That number and what you just told me, I'm going with you.
Yeah.
Because you got a chance to build rapport. But remember, it's the rapport. Why 99% of them are gonna go with JJ or myself or Sharon in the.
I can sell your house without ever seeing your house. I don't ever have to go there. I can sell it, no problem, from my desk.
Listings are probably my superpower.
Listing fee.
It's the one thing I do really well.
So, all right, I don't even need to go to a house. I can send my photographer there, I can send my cleaner there, right?
You said to the
You put it in MLS after I have the pictures back.
You said to people, I can sell it without seeing your house. I can sell it.
It's saying like,
I mean, is it for us to say?
hire me. Why? Because I can do all of these things. I have a formula. This is my plan. Like, you know,
I mean,
I have a marketing plan. This is what I'm gonna do. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. You know, every single day, if the calls are not coming in, this is what I'm doing to generate calls.
why some of these properties stay in the market for the long time?
Overpriced.
It's tough.
There is nothing you can do as an agent when you have an overpriced listing.
Everything is overpriced. I mean, it's tough.
When you see an agent that has 100 listings,
Yeah,
they have paid 100 photographer appointments.
yes, exactly.
Right? And they have no return. They've paid LA Times advertising. All they've done is pay all that money and no return.
Yeah, the seller,
If they can sell 1 or 2 out of 100 and it's a good commission,
you see the seller, the seller went from one agent, top agent to another one. Has been on the market for 150 days.
went to another agent, has been launched for 4 months, hasn't been sold. I mean, they lowered the price even substantially, still hasn't sold.
Yep.
Is that, I mean, what does the
Whenever,
seller think
whenever
about
I request a price,
Confusion,
whenever I
like-
request a price reduction from a seller, I tell them we need to go 10%. If I don't have that conversation with the seller, I am not doing the right thing for the seller.
which is 10 million,
10%.
$200,000?
On a $2 million property, we need to go to 1.8, yeah. Because if someone is thinking about offering 1.9 on a 2 million, they're gonna make that offer. Someone who's thinking about offering 1.8 on a 2 million might think that the seller, they don't know how the seller is gonna react.
You have to talk to the seller before you go in. I mean, if not, yeah, I want this in my pocket.
So by the way, Keller Williams gives us the power to go into the MLS and make changes and enter stuff ourselves. Right? Because we're getting the listing input sheets. We can do all that ourselves. Other offices don't let you do that. You have to fill out that input sheet I showed you and hand it to the office administrator, and they do all the MLS entry. So when you get a price reduction or a modification, you're handing that to the office administrator and they're going in the MLS and making the change. We're giving a lot of power to the agents here by letting them do it themselves. Make sure that your client signs first before you make any changes. Like if your client texts you, lower my price, don't lower the price until you send them the modification with the price and then they sign it, return it. Just keeping you out of trouble.
Okay.
All right, guys.
What is it? I missed this one. What's this one you got there?
Oh, that's for photography.
For photography.
Yeah.
Would you call for photography then?
LA 360 VR. I got you. So marketing should give you the full one. Cloud CMA is your friend.
Okay.
Go to Cloud CMA, make sure you update your profile, and then use the property address and print the full report. It's gonna say customized report.
Right.
I don't have anything here to stand up. When you go to customize report, make sure that you drag every single thing to the report section, because you have 2 columns, report, and then everything, you can drag everything. And then print the PDF, download the PDF of everything. That's your listing presentation. And then you can take out of it what you're not gonna use.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pinar?
No, I was just saying, they said the general was gonna be fine, so because I don't have a listing, so how would I prepare a listing presentation on a specific
Oh,
address?
still making it, just make an address up and just make an address up that's currently for sale. Or they just use an active address or
But just use the whatever address.
go to Cloud CMA from the MLS
Mhm.
and then, and just create a listing presentation.
And do you also add the one that you said all the agents make one?
Every company, doesn't matter where you are, all the listing presentations are the same. As I'm saying, you're not,
I don't have any of these.
you're not, no, those,
Make it.
yeah, you can make it. You're not being hired because you're listing presentation, is what I'm getting at. You're gonna get hired, what you're gonna do is get the most money in the shortest amount of time. That's what you need to focus on for tomorrow.
Do you think we should pick all the preliminary reports and this,
No, no, no,
ones that you
no, no,
put
no.
page by page?
I don't think so. I think for tomorrow, they're asking you to come up with this from the marketing department or Cloud CMA listing presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, but they're gonna have a bulk listing presentation. They're gonna share with you a bulk list.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, if I'm paying for bold, I want a bold listing presentation.
Yeah, nice. I wanted to ask you, JJ, really quick, for like expired listing presentations,
Yeah.
do you think that it would be a smart idea if I were to bring like ready to go flyers, saying like,
So,
to the listing presentation, saying like, look, like I'm ready to get the property, sold. I'm like,
Okay.
I got my flyers ready for you and everything,
Okay.
like, put me to work. I'm literally, once you sign this, I'm ready to go.
great, love it.
Do you think that would help at all or no?
Yes, so. So I know from the commercial world that there are commercial companies. That there are commercial companies that will, so they have an OM. they have something called a it's offering memorandum on a commercial property. It's like a multi-page, full color, everything about property. I know that there are commercial offices that will create the OM even before having the listing. That they want the seller to see what their OM looks like.
Right.
So. Do that and go up against someone who doesn't have it, right? There's a
Right.
difference. So yes, if you're saying print the flyers in advance, yeah,
JJ.
there's so much to learn.
My goodness.
But all you need to do though is know who's a potential seller.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all there is to it. And then sign the dotted line.
Nice, so much stuff.
FEC.
This one he gives to me, you know, coverage, the seller. He was like, most of this stuff he's keeping, all this stuff, but he's like, this is the one that we give them, so they know they're insured up to 25,000.
So you take a picture.
You're done. One second.
Sure.
But they were so confused. They were so.
Alfredo birthday. I'm thinking of my listing presentation, he said.
Right now.
I thought I had all this like ready to go and I'm like, I don't have anything compared to the AJ show. That's, you know, I got some.
You already have to, you know, I mean, are you?
No, but I'm getting my stuff ready right now. And I'm doing CMA and CMA has like a nice new basket, but this is next level.
I'll keep that listing presentation.
It's cool. It has all these pictures and, you know, you're showing.
Sure.
This is,
Well, I'm thinking,
I haven't checked it. CMAs for like.
if they say,
You put an address.
yeah, like I'm gonna.
Love it. All right.
Great, and then some of the comps close by and it makes, and all my information's in there, my. And all so professional. This is nice because I didn't talk about a marketing plan or I don't have one. So I'm gonna make some. But he was showing up. And they take pictures too, all for $349. So it's like, it's almost like you get the 3D for free. Yeah, the virtual tour, so.
This presentation, you don't even get this.
But when you get it, then it's worth
So,
it.
Lord.
Do you know the next time she'll do the program?
چیز بکنی شاید 1 میلیون بیاریتش پایین.
IKW, that one default site is up.
بهش بدید
I
بیایید.
haven't done it, so.
رو چک کنید.
I would go to the program.
البته خب price is really برای خونه
Yeah.
28 میلیون. نه قیمتش خیلی.
Well, I forwarded my domain to the yield Guven. It forwards to my KW for now.
If you seem like you know a lot.
JJ showed me how to do it, but I went into, where's your domain? It's like 9 sheets.
I mean, like.
That's hard. It's really hard.
What you said, but I bought it from Google.
Log into your, is it on, where is your domain? How do you access your domain? Your actual website.
I found this.
Okay, perfect.
I honestly don't know what they're doing.
You want to, so where it is? JJ will, and we can look, but JJ quickly showed me how to do it. And I can show